Welcome to Grisora Live, where we help small business owners move from being trapped, stuck, crushed by their business to converting that business into a machine that's going to propel them forward. Now, Brett and I were talking the other day, and we may be trying something new in the near future. We'd love your feedback on it. We're contemplating allowing people to come on with us and talk about their business during these sessions, and then we give feedback, suggestions, and thoughts on Grisora itself. And so if you're interested in that, let us know. If you think it's a terrible idea, let us know. If you think it's a cool idea, let us know. We want to hear your feedback. Brett, what are we talking about today?
Well, we're talking about just that. This last week, I had the opportunity to meet with a number of up and coming entrepreneurs, people who are um, have small businesses already, a few who are just getting started. And I had some of the most fun that I've had in a long time answering their specific questions.
Hmm,
I didn't let them ask me hypotheticals. It was specific questions for their business, helping them to find the next thing that they need to move forward.
gotcha. So why was that so exciting and invigorating for you?
Hey, probably a number of reasons, but one thing I specifically remember was just seeing like the light bulbs
Okay.
over and over again. Like it was thrilling to see the excitement from these entrepreneurs they as they were challenged, as their limiting beliefs were broken,
Hmm.
and they saw a path forward when before they were stuck. And it
Gotcha.
was anyway, like it was very, very satisfying. It's something that I would love to do on a weekly basis, which is why if you're interested in coming on, would love to help go through your business, break it down, and figure out where your bottlenecks are and what to do to actually solve and get through them.
Gotcha. Awesome. Yeah, I think anybody that's interested, let us know. We'd love to have you on the show.
I mean, so some of them there was one lady who's doing a type of home medical service, and she thought that she couldn't start because she was waiting for an office to be renovated that she could move into.
Oh,
Whereas her business is essentially built around going into people's homes to help them with certain things. It's
oh,
like,
wow. So she
and
doesn't even need an office.
she doesn't even need an office, but she just had this belief that she didn't want people to come to her home, and she had to have an office to meet people, even
Mm,
though 80% of what she was going to do for people was going to be in their home.
right.
It's like, well, what's the big deal with traveling? Well, I don't know that I really want to travel, and I got all these other things going on, and I really am stuck because this office renovation that I'm hoping to be able to move into isn't done yet. Well, she doesn't even have a signed lease or anything like concrete for that. And as she's just starting out, she doesn't need it, especially when she can meet people at their home. And so it was really fun to call her out on that, break that limiting belief, and then the rest of the group, because they'd been working together as a group for a while, just piled onto her. It's like, you can do this. We can help you. You're like the excuse that you've been giving us is like now we all see that it's complete baloney.
Mhm.
And she was really grateful because like it helped her like now, and she knew where to get customers from like immediately. She had demand, and like she just needed to turn it on. So beautiful place.
Yeah.
Another couple, um, they sell farmers market type products,
Mhm.
and the husband wants to take the business and grow it big and make it really large, and the wife, being third generation with this little business, wants to keep it small.
Ooh,
And so
so you're gonna step in
what
on a landmine no matter what you say.
is it? Well, yeah, in a sense, but it's at the end of the day, it's like I want to do this with the business and I want to do that with the business,
Mhm.
and it's like whoa, like you got like the very first thing that's in your way is you two have to get on the same page.
Right.
Like you got to decide, you've got to get the vision for your business. You've got to write it down. Like, what do you want for this business? It doesn't matter what it is. whether you
Mhm.
decide to stay small or go big, but you both have to be aligned. Otherwise, it's not going to go anywhere.
Right. They'll be pulling the business
And
apart as they each try to go their separate
yeah,
ways. Yeah.
and so they were like, "Oh wow, like that's so simple." And again, it really like these answers really are simple. Another one, another guy is doing a startup with AI based software, and he's running. And their issue, they have customers, they have recurring revenue, but they don't have enough customers for to keep their development going and keep their team intact currently.
Mhm.
And so they they thought that they had to get investors, so they'd have to give away a chunk of their company to have investors so that they could have more enough runway to get their company to actually start flying.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
completely broke those beliefs is like because they were told by somebody at the I'm not going to name names at a certain place that normally helps businesses, and told them that told them they couldn't get a loan. And so they heard that and they're
Now
like, well, we
now is
can't
that
get.
an organization that gives loans?
No, it wasn't.
So it wasn't the authority that's handing out money. Bob over here is like, "Oh, no, nobody's gonna give you money," but Bob
Nobody
doesn't
will
give
give
money.
you loan. Like you can't get a loan. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, let's back up from that. First of all, you need some more qualifications on that. Given where you're at and what I know about banks, you cannot get a conventional loan. But that's not the only kind of loan out there. There's a whole bunch of different kinds of loans. There's a whole bunch of different sources of money, and most of them are a whole lot cheaper than giving away 10, 20, 30, 50% of your company before you've even really taken it anywhere.
Yeah.
And if you and your co-founders truly believe about this and you're willing to, and like he told me they were willing to get a loan, they just didn't think they could. And he was like, well, how do I go about finding out? I was like, well, you call up a bank and you tell them, this is what I'm looking to do. Can you help me? And if they say no, then you say, do you know anyone who can? And guess what? They will. They'll usually tell you who can help you. And so then you just follow the breadcrumbs until you
Yeah.
find somebody that's willing to give you money.
That reminds me of when I was probably 20 years ago, I read a book written by the founder of California Closets, which huge it just exploded because they could come in, organize closets. They had all these different packages, right? And they really just took over the country for a little while. And he said that when he was first getting started and trying to scale up, he was looking for money. And he did that exactly that. He just started going bank to bank to bank, and he didn't let one no stop him. And he just kept going and going. And one of the people that he tried to get a loan from, I and I may butcher the story a little bit, essentially was like, "I'll never give a loan to somebody that looks like him." It was essentially what that banker said.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
fast forward a little bit, the company absolutely takes off and explodes, and that banker comes to California Closet's headquarters begging to do business with him. And he's like, "You don't remember this, but when I was first starting, I tried to get a loan and you wouldn't give me one. There's no way I'm ever going to do business with your company now. You've totally burned that bridge." But he didn't give up. And that's the main point I want to get across. Go and try and try and try. Just because one bank says no doesn't mean they all will, right?
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. And so it was fun because I was able to share other sources of money besides trying to get investors, other sources of money besides conventional loans, and really just point out like these are all the different avenues that you could look to that I know about, and I'm no expert on it. But simply because of my years and experience in business, I had answers that he'd not heard from anywhere else.
Wow.
And so like now, so then he leaves the meeting motivated because like, wow, now like I see a path forward. And this is not the only path we talked about, but anyway, for these young entrepreneurs, people that take that here that's not possible, and they take it at face value and don't dig in deeper because they assume that the person that told them is an expert and should know better. It kind of made me sad as well to think that there's so much misinformation out there about what's possible and about what these people can do and how far they can really go. And
Right.
but it was really satisfying to be able to correct some of those misunderstandings and enable them to have a path to move forward and create what they want to create.
Well, that's really awesome. So, can I have you give me some advice from an experience I recently had?
Sure.
Awesome. So, a little bit of backstory. So, I'm putting an event on. It's going to be a 2-hour event happening, and with when I first started talking about it, people were super excited. Everybody's wanting to buy tickets, and then I opened the doors, and people just bought up a whole bunch of the tickets. And I recently went to an event. There's probably 30 people in the room, and during that event, I talked about what we're doing, how we're giving the proceeds to to charity, and all these things. And I get done, and out of the room, only 1 out of 30 people expressed interest. And prior to that, if I'd walked into a room, people have been like, "This is so cool, let's do it." I'd have got a bunch of people that were interested, some people that bought tickets from it. This time, completely flat, nothing. What would you do if you were me?
Well, did you follow up with anybody after the meeting and say what, like, where did I miss? Like, I don't know. Maybe you were just in the wrong room.
Mhm.
I think the only thing I think really the only thing to say is just keep going. Like,
Uh-huh.
you've already had proven success in some venues, and you apparently ran into a venue where there wasn't any interest, and
Okay.
that happens in business all the time.
So your
Where
advice is don't let that set my mindset of how I'm moving forward.
yeah, definitely not. I mean,
Mhm.
that's just one blip in time, and it's the first time you've had that experience when you've talked at a couple other places and had great success and interest. It's like lean on those instead of
Mhm.
this outlier, and consider it an outlier until it unless it becomes not an outlier. But you also recognize that there's different kinds of customers. I mean, essentially, and not everybody's in the market for what you might be offering. And if
Mm.
you're talking to the wrong crowd, like, it's not going to do you, like, if you're I'm thinking of an example. You're trying to sell private jets in the Walmart parking lot. It might not go so well.
You see a lot of people though.
You'd see a lot of people, and you probably get a lot of people tell you, "I can't afford that." It's like, eh, well, and
So
if
I
you
should
take
lower
that,
my
it's like,
price then.
what's that?
So you're saying if I'm selling jets and they're telling me I can't afford it, I should lower my price.
No, no,
Oh,
you should find
okay.
the customers that can actually afford your jets.
I should move out of that parking lot.
Yeah.
I love it.
Um, anyway, so going on with this, what we want is we want your questions for real, and we'd love for a few of you to come on, and we can go through your business. We can keep it as confidential or as open as you're willing. I mean, the more open you are, the more we can help. So if you're willing to share things like your revenue, your profit margin, how many employees you have, where you service, and tell us about yourself, then we're going to be able to really dig in and ask questions. One of the key questions that I asked people was to be able to help them ask me a good question was, if your book of business, if the number of customers or jobs you have doubled tomorrow, what would happen? Would your lead times explode? Would you have to tell most of them no, or would you be super excited that you had twice as much business? And depending on where that is, you're going to find that your constraint either lies on your ability to get commitments or your ability to keep those commitments with your customers. And then from there, it's really easy to zero in on where exactly you should focus your efforts so that you can keep your business going. Because if your answer to that question was, well, I'd be super excited and I would actually maybe have, I'd actually be busy for the week. It's like, well, great. The thing you need to focus on is getting more customers. You don't need to worry about how can you do your job faster, more efficiently, quicker, anything like that. You need to focus on how can I get more customers. And that was the exact situation that one of these people was in. They started a home service business just a few months ago, and it was interesting. He's he's not he's not staying busy enough with his own business, but all the other quote unquote competitors that do the same thing in the valley um, want him to come and work for them.
Oh, wow.
And the guy that helped him get started, his buddy, he has a buddy that does the same thing. He spends 2 days a week working for his buddy, and his buddy knows all the other people that are doing this type of home service, and they're asking, hey, can your guy come and work for me 1 or 2 days a week?
Crazy.
And so it's not like the work isn't out there. It's not like he couldn't stay busy. And so what I challenged him on was, well, consider maybe white labeling your service, meaning um, you actually go and perform the work that they already have lined up. And as long as the numbers work, doesn't matter where the jobs come from, whether it comes from your own efforts or whether you're working under somebody else's brand at this point, where you're just getting started. And it was like fireworks in his head. It's like, wow, like as much demand as I have on my time for doing this, I could absolutely keep my calendar booked out for weeks tomorrow. And again, his challenge is he's got to make sure that the numbers work. So
Mhm.
he's getting a rate that he's happy with. But he had like the work was there, he just couldn't see it because in
Yeah.
his mind at first, I have my brand that I'm building, and so I can't help anyone else.
Right, right.
Um, and so that anyway, that was another one there. Anyway, just phenomenal for me, a very very uplifting and blessed experience to be able to help those smaller entrepreneurs because I usually tend to work with larger companies um, that are much more established. And it was really fun to kind of go back to my roots because I started my first business from just a few $100,000 in revenue, growing it to over 4 million in consistent annual revenue, and to be able to help other people see a path that they could get there. And as I've been working on a book that we are coming out with soon, um, I've been reworked the forward of the book this morning, and really just talked about my own ups and downs in my entrepreneurial journey and how I'm still on it, and there's still ups and downs. There's still things that I don't know. I mean, even though, but 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 I do have experience growing an 8-figure enterprise, and I know how to go from a very very small amount of revenue to a much larger amount of revenue. I know how to take myself from being the chief cook and bottle washer who's responsible for doing everything and setting up systems, learning how to delegate and creating teams of people that I can lead to actually help my dreams become a reality at the same time I'm helping their dreams become a reality.
Mm,
And so I've learned how to extricate myself from being in the middle of a small business. And that's what this book that we're putting together is about how to help that small business owner go from being that chief cook and bottle washer, the one who's responsible for doing every little thing in their business, to being able to know how to manage their attention, know how to create systems that allow for consistent repeatability and quality, to know how to delegate effectively so that you're not just kicking a can down the road or creating a fire that you're going to have to put out later, so that you can know how to attract and retain A players, like real talent, the people that are going to help you build your vision and create the life that you want at the same time that you're able to turn around and help them build the life that they want, and how to create that kind of collaboration. And so anyway, that's something that we are looking forward to launching here in the next little while for everybody is this book. And I don't know that we even have a title for it yet, but
no, the title will show up when it's supposed to.
okay, perfect. But anyway, that's something that I'm excited about, and something that just it was just very 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 exciting. So anyway, I don't know that I have a lot more on that topic. Is
Okay.
there? So
So I think though you touched on something critical, and we kind of danced around it a little bit with the experience I had, and it was this idea of what is it that we're allowing to shape our vision. And we see certain things and we recognize certain things and the data comes in, but it's how we interpret it that determines what we actually see. And I know that some people will go in and you'll be like, "Hey, can you get whatever, can you go get me this? And I asked my son the other day to go get my water bottle for me. I was running late. I needed the water bottle. I was going to be gone for a long time. And and he's just running around the house looking. He couldn't find the water bottle anywhere. He's like, "Dad, it's gone. Your water bottle is gone." And it
Got
is
legs and walked away.
it's literally just sitting right where it always is, right next to like, and I'm like, "How did you not see that?" But it was there, and the eyeballs would have seen the color of the water bottle, but it didn't make it into the brain. And what you keep telling is these story after story after story of business owners who all the facts are right there. You didn't magically come in and change any facts. You just said, "Hey, the way that you're processing the data is wrong. Let's have let's have a moment to reanalyze all the data and see it from a different light, a different perspective." And it opens up their eyes and they're like, "How did I never see this?" And that is what happens so often, I think, for business owners because we're so close to it and we can only judge the data based on our experiences, that sometimes having that outside set of eyes, that sounding board, that other person, can make such a difference for us because we have the chance to then get a new perspective that we'd never get on our own.
Well, and yeah, that is a very, very succinct way to state what I was doing, because you're absolutely right. I wasn't changing any facts for anybody. It was just pointing out, it was just shining a light from a new angle. And when we are close to something as business owners, I know from my own personal experience that the emotions create clouds and blinders, and we feel like things have to be a particular way, that they are a particular way, they should be a particular way, and we get locked in, and until either we get punched in the face hard enough that we actually back up and look around, or we humble ourselves enough that we can actually hear the advice from somebody who has a different perspective or different angle. And I can say that when I started my journey, I got a master's degree in business administration, and my first, um, 8, 9 attempts at starting a company all flopped, until finally I had a success. And even then, I was hardly willing to listen to anyone.
Hmm.
And and then I got my next company and grew that. And even then, I was still like, there were only a handful of people that I was willing to listen to. And I was very, very selective at who I would even take advice from. And then I got my third company, same thing. And the whole time, like, I had these things in the back of my head, like, you need to fix this, you need to fix that, and and it finally took some major fires for me to realize that there are people in the world who have the perspective that they can share with me to help me get the perspective that I need so that I can continue to have success. And these coaches and mentors that I've started to lean on, um, to help make sure that I am keeping an open mind and not getting the blinders on, have been critical to my continued growth and success. And like I just I if I could go if I could tell myself, if I could send a letter back to myself in the past, it would be, get serious with a coach, get serious with a mentor, get serious with somebody who has got an outside perspective, and let them help you. And again, you don't need that outside perspective to create new facts, to create a new situation. You just need them to shine a light from an angle that you're not seeing.
And what's amazing to me is sometimes all it really takes is having someone that will sit and listen to you while you talk, and they don't even always have to be an expert that have been there, done that. They just sometimes need to listen well enough that as you vent, the information comes out, and sometimes you question yourself, and you're like, "Wait, did I really just say that? Is that really what I'm saying?" And they don't even have to be an expert. Sometimes they just have to listen, and just the act of us talking to another individual that's listening is enough to shift. But other times, like you were saying, those experts and those mentors who have been down that path, who have experienced it, they can also shine light in areas that someone who isn't skilled would never know to shine the light in.
Yeah. Well, and what you hit on there is a key distinction. Um, Consultant and coach often get interchanged, and they're two very, very separate things. A consultant is the expert who knows how to do the thing, and they come in and they tell you how to do the thing. The coach is someone who helps you figure out how to do the thing. They
Yep.
they may not even know how to do the thing themselves, but what they can do is ask you questions to spark your own thinking, to help you get out of your own mental traps and move forward. And so a good coach almost never gives you an answer. All they do is give you questions so that you can come up with the answer. And most of the time, I find that these small entrepreneurs, by actually coaching instead of being a consultant, they like people know what the next thing they need to do is. They've just hid it from themselves for some reason. Like they know, like you say, as soon as you get them talking, they'll surface the solution to whatever's bothering them.
Right.
And that happens over and over again. And so one thing I have been working on is switching from being a consultant to a coach and practicing my coaching, um, because I've come to find out that I'm not very good at it
Hmm.
on the coaching side. If you want me to come in and work with you to help you solve a specific issue, to put out a fire, to build a system, or make a particular improvement, like I can do that. Um, in nearly any situation. But if you want me to coach you and help you come out with the answer, that's a skill that I am still learning how to develop, and something that I'm excited to develop because there's a lot of power in doing that instead of giving people the answer, helping them come up with the answer. And it's something that's critical as you build teams because you have to switch. So I mean, sometimes you have to put the consultant hat on, but a lot of times you're better off, as long as it's the right team member, being a coach, because you'll help them level up, which will enable them to push your vision even harder.
Definitely. Yeah, I love both types, but there's definitely a time and a place to have each.
Yeah. Um, so anyway, that's I think we might even end a little early, but
Okay.
the big request that we have is send us your questions and send us a request to be on here with us live, so that we can actually help you take your business to the next stage.
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody.